Welcome to the DraftKings Daily Trot. I'm Jason Gilbo at JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J. Clay. Taking a look at tonight's slate here on DraftKings, and it's a really heavy pitching slate. Going to be diving into a lot of value that we need to kind of get to, more so than the heavier price bats.
Right. We're just going to go ahead and assume you're basically going to be looking for value in all these lineups. So we're going to go pretty light on the high end options and kind of focus on where we see potential pockets of value opening up.
Yeah, definitely. So looking here, I mean, Nationals and Padres. Padres are not one of those teams you're looking for value from, scoring off against Max Scherzer. But these Nationals prices, I mean, outside of Murphy and Harper, who are both over 5K, really nice value.
What, bro? You're not Yang in cash?
No Yang for me. I mean, Matt Kemp's got the power of,
a god.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously you're fading that lineup tonight. I don't even think that's worth being contrarian on. You just don't do that.
Yeah, I think so. And you look at the Nationals, I mean, I like Ben Revere worth prices. I mean, I like those guys around Harper and Murphy and even a Trey Turner. I mean, there's some decent value in for a team that's projected over 5 runs. I think this is going to be a theme for me is I don't mind diving down into maybe the later half of lineups in some spots here.
I like Worth at 31. That's a really nice price. That's probably the guy I'm picking out of this lineup as sort of the guy to potentially throw in the outfield.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, we talked about him yesterday being cheap, and we talked about, we always usually recommend him against lefties. It's righties we just stay away from. But when you get bad righties like Edwin Jackson, you can definitely fire away at his price tag.
Right.
Indians in Baltimore here, and for me, the Indians are off the board at their prices
again. Yeah, just like yesterday, it's just too expensive. I mean, over 20K for the top 4 there. It's just. Especially against Gossman, he's been pretty good against lefties. So I just don't see that being a viable option, even as a stack. I mean, they're not really. It's not like they're projected for 5.5 runs or something crazy. So definitely stay away.
I don't think they're worth their price tag. I mean, hey, maybe you get Lindor, Kipnis, or Santana that hits a homer, but I'm not paying that price tag to get a homer. I'll dive down to some better points per dollar returns.
Right. Like our friends in Baltimore.
I mean, you have to love these price tags. I mean, we talk about Tomlin being extremely home run prone. I mean, especially to right-handed bats, 1.93 home runs per 9, 3.35 WOBA. You got to like Jones under 4K. You got to like Trumbo at 4.1. Machado at 3.6 is a freaking gift, and he's a guy who I'm going to probably have 100% exposure to tonight. I can't see myself swerving off them given he has shortstop and third base eligibility.
You're going to have 100 shares, and you're only going to make 10 lineups, so that's the type of Machado night it's going to be.
I don't know if that adds up quite like you're going for, but yeah, I think we get your gist of we're playing a lot of them.
Yeah, no, and I even like Chris Davis, throw that in there. I think that's a very viable grouping to sort of look at. I think Scope's a little overpriced just because you look at Machado right there and it's like, boom. So Machado in cash, I think is what you're looking at there. And yeah, throw in Trumbo, Jones, and maybe even a Chris Davis in the tournament.
Yeah, I think all these guys are cash game playable. Davis maybe more so for me, GPPs, just because of that high strikeout rate. But obviously, you got to like the upside. So I'm a big fan of using them as a core tonight. Definitely more so on them here than I am over on FanDuel.
Definitely.
Angels, Astros. For me, things are a little different here with the Angels. I don't mind a Cole Calhoun at 3,400. Just given that cheap price tag. But outside of that, I don't see myself paying up for a 5K Mike Trout or even really using a Pujols at 3, even though he's been showing off some power of late.
Yeah, no, I just don't think it's worth it for Trout tonight. I mean, it is, but in terms of how the slate breaks down, I don't really see it happening for you. So I always in play, but it's going to be tough with the roster construction.
Yeah, I think so too. And on the Houston side, I mean, Springer's price has dropped down over the last 2 games. I like him at 4,200 against Weaver, who I think Weaver we can pick on quite a bit. And I'm not on Altuve or Correa at their prices, but we talked about this on FanDuel, that Valbuena, Colby Rasmus, Preston Tucker, Carlos Gomez. If you want to take some shots with some punt values, I feel free to do so. I like them to open up some space.
The Gomez-Tucker pair is more in play for me here than on FanDuel just because Valbuena and Rasmus are priced up a little bit. But yeah, I think those four are really ones that you can target, especially Valbuena.
Yeah, definitely. And I think looking at really this game in general, I think you can kind of find some solid value with some solid home run upside.
Mm-hmm.
Tigers and White Sox next here, and for me, I talked about this on FanDuel, and I do think you can make a reasonable option as far as attacking Sale and GPPs in at least one or two lineups. Kinsler obviously more expensive, but I think because the algorithm knows he hits lefties very well, he's priced that way. But you get a Miguel Cabrera or Martinez at under 3K or even an Upton Castellanos. I don't mind taking shots against Sale because I mentioned on the pitcher pod, I don't find myself using Sale tonight.
This is a one-off lineup for me, but I think if you want to take a Cabrera under 3K, 2,700, I think that's really viable, and it opens up a lot. So solid upside from this Tigers lineup for what you'd consider against Chris Sale, you know?
Yeah, I mean, deep GPP plays. I mean, not looking at them. And really my first outside, maybe one guy I might take a shot at with Kinsler. Kinsler's probably my number one. Still wish he was a little bit cheaper, but I still don't hate taking him with how he's hit lefties this year.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the White Sox go, I mean, the guys we talked about that we liked on FanDuel, like Melky Cabrera, Todd Frazier, are all priced up near 5K. A little expensive for me. I don't mind Anderson or Abreu under 4K, given the slate considered.
We'll do Abreu. All right, White Sox. I see you. Yeah, we'll do Abreu at 31 and move on here. All right. Anyway, Twins, Red Sox. No, but yeah, I mean they are a solid lineup, but a little overpriced for me.
Yeah, I think I was hoping Melky would be a steal. He's not. I don't mind Anderson at 3.9 though.
Yep.
So, Twins, Red Sox here, and we can jump into the Twins side just real quick. Dozier's price at 4.5. Not quite in love with it, given some other second base options. I will take a shot at Miguel Sano at 3,200 though, and kind of hope for a GPP homer. But I find myself using a little bit of price here on DraftKings tonight.
Yeah, I think they kind of forced your hand here as opposed to FanDuel kind of priced them in similar price ranges. I think we just go with Sano here if you're trying to get a leverage play on price. Other than that, I don't see the need to go with a Dozier or Nunez at those prices.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And yeah, I think the Dozier price tag really catches me off guard here. I was expecting it to be a little bit cheaper. Yeah. I mean, obviously, last night against the lefty is Dozier, is quality against southpaws. But yeah, I think for the most part, I'm kind of just leaning more towards the Sox, obviously, as most will as far as trying to get a piece in.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I mean, you got to like the prices of Pedroia, Bogarts, Hanley. I think they're very reasonable, and I don't even mind the back end guys of a Sandy Leon or Brock Holt.
Yeah, I definitely like those guys. It's going to be tough to fit in the Ortiz bats of the world tonight, but I mean that is a viable move. We talked about that on FanDuel. I think it's in play on DK as well. Just go all in on the Sox and make it work at pitcher.
And the thing is, I mean, if Betts sits out tonight and he left last night's game, I mean, who comes in the leadoff spot is going to be kind of crucial. I mean, my guess is you might see Jackie Bradley Jr., but I don't know. I have a kind of a hunch that Brock Holt might sneak up there and hit leadoff or move Pedroia or hit second or something. Holt might be the one to sneak up, and that would become great value if he does so because he's guaranteed that extra at bat. Yeah,
definitely in lefty on righty there. So you definitely like that call. Something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely. So Diamondbacks Reds next here. The Diamondbacks price tags are much higher than they are over on FanDuel. I still like them, but obviously we were kind of just planning on jamming in a bunch of Diamondbacks into FanDuel last night, but here it's a little bit different. You got Jake Lamb, 5,400, a very expensive third baseman who's just 31 on TK.
Yeah, I think you're looking at that Wellington Castillo price as sort of the one that stands out there. But the Lamb difference from site to site, he is in play. He is a high-end third base option, but at the same time, that's a little too expensive for me.
Yeah, and even Segura, I mean, he's another one where he was priced down on FanDuel. And Bourne, I mean, not quite the value. Good ballpark factors for all these guys, but it's not quite that same points per dollar return that I was kind of hoping. But I still don't mind the Diamondbacks as a top offensive target, though.
Agreed.
So as far as the Reds go, I mean, Billy Hamilton at 3.4 trying to get that stolen base upside. We saw it last night, 3 swipes. So I don't mind him. I don't mind the Reds here more so, just given their cheap price tags.
Yeah, these are solid prices, especially Adam Duvall at 33. That's a really solid price against Ray. I don't think we're targeting Ray, but at the same time, these are cheap prices. So this is what you're looking for on a night like this. Still projected for 4.5 runs. Duvall, Hamilton, Cozart. And I mean, you could make a tournament swerve with a Jay Bruce or Votto, but I think I'd rather dive down to Duvall tonight, just in general with the matchup.
Yeah, I think the Reds are strictly GPP for me. The only one I might consider if he fits in is Billy Hamilton, just because he's at the top of the lineup, and really at his price tag right there. I mean, gets on stolen base. I mean, generates a run or two. You don't mind that,
right?
So, Cubs and Brewers here. Cubs are, I'm more intrigued with pretty much anyone after 3, just given the price tags. I mean, obviously Fowler, Bryant, and Rizzo are always in play, but I like the value and returns for the rest of the lineup.
Yep, definitely like the rest of the lineup. As you mentioned, probably staying away from Hayward just because of his struggles. But Bays finally back down to a little more of a reduced price. Addison Russell, even a Wilson Contreras, I'm okay with those prices.
Yeah, I like Zobrist 4-1. I think that's a reasonable price for him in this matchup. And as you stated on FanDuel, Fowler back leading off is going to push Zobrist into a more of an RBI role.
Yep.
As far as the Brewers go, I mean, here I don't mind taking a shot at Ryan Braun at 3-3. This was the same case last night where he was priced down against Hamill, and he's being priced like Arrieta's on the hill. So for me, I don't mind taking a shot at Braun for 3-3. That's big upside in a night where you get a big name with some big pitching there.
We're looking at it pretty much the same as yesterday here. It was just so reduced that it didn't really make sense. So at that much of a discount, you like Braun, 3,300. He's on that border of cash for me. I don't know if he's gonna fit into a cash lineup, but he is relatively close.
Yeah, I think so.
What do you think? What do you think?
I think so. If he's kind of a final piece in my cash lineup, I don't mind tossing him in just because he's in a great spot. Against Lackey, I mean, obviously Lackey, above average right-handed arm, but friendly ballpark there. I mean, Braun hits righties well. I really don't mind him in all formats, given the price.
Right.
If he was maybe 36, 37, it'd be a different consideration. But because he's 3-3.
Yeah, I know.
It's hard to pass up on.
He's kind of like Jose Abreu, except good with the price reduction.
We've turned on the White Sox very quickly.
No, I've turned much harder than you. I was in on them early in the year, and I think the pain of just having them on some slates is just turned me kind of like a wrestler. I'm like the crowd. Like we were really in on them, and then they did a heel turn, and now I'm just totally out.
Yeah, like all of a sudden they bash you in the back while you're talking, like with a chair, like.
And I'm the fan. I'm just in the stands, and they're hitting me with chairs. So, yeah, not cool, man.
Mets Marlins next one here, and I mean, you want to talk about really a low-scoring game. You got Jacob deGrom and Jose Fernandez, and I can't even see myself. Even we talked about Stanton on FanDuel and Ozuna because they're cheap. But when you have guys like Braun and Duvall, I don't feel the need to even attack anyone from this game in general.
Yeah, and usually when the top 4 are all priced up over 4K, and then there's that one guy sitting in the 2K, you kind of look at him. But I don't think I'm really in on Prado here, even at that 2,700. If he is betting second. So I think this is just an avoid here, both sides. No need.
Yep, I'm in definite agreement. 12-game slate, you can definitely look elsewhere.
Yeah.
Dodgers Cardinals, and here's another one. I don't like this game as far as pricing goes. I think Seager's price high. Turner, the guys I mentioned on FanDuel that I didn't mind, are priced entirely too high for me. I can't see myself even using anyone here in this game. Might a tough matchup. I mean, Piscotty at 3.7 maybe in GPP, but it's a bland game for me.
I honestly, on FD, I wanted them to price it up. You know what I mean? Like it would make me feel more comfortable if they were at these prices, so I could just avoid them. FanDuel puts you in a weird position where you're like, well, I still have to look at them, even though I don't like these matchups. So yeah, easy fade for me. I mean, you kind of look at the 4-5 for the Cardinals, 32 and 29, and and you question it a little bit. But overall, I think you can kind of fade this matchup.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, if this was a 6-7 game slate like they usually happen on Saturdays, I think we dive into it a little more. But when you got prices of guys like the Orioles that you feel a little bit comfortable with, some guys on the Sox, Houston, you feel a little bit better just kind of going in that direction instead.
Right.
Rangers, Royals. For me, I mean, the Royals are cheap going up against Hamels. They're all very cheap. They're not a team that, like the Tigers, where I'm really looking to use a ton of, but I don't mind some of them as one-offs if you're looking to be different in GPPs, just because I don't find myself having a ton of Hamels, even though he is a GPP option tonight.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, if Alcides Escobar is up there at 2K, I mean, that's kind of like the guy you just throw in for poops and giggles. But other than that, I think you're kind of fading the Royals.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, yeah, I can't see myself really. I mean, maybe our Morales at 31 is a really contrarian player, or a Perez. But
hold on, I may need to stop podcasting after that little whatever I just said. That is gross. That is, I don't even know what type of statement that's making for me as a person, that I would go with poops and giggles. That's really
I think this is
flamboyant.
This is an adult podcast. I think you can let it fly. I mean, it hasn't stopped you before, that's for sure. So
that's like I need to go become a bus driver or something, you know?
Yeah, it was borderline you're a first grade teacher.
Not an actual bus driver, just like the bus driver on field trips.
So like a Chris Farley and Billy Madison.
Yeah, like a part-time. Yeah, I think that's my move. Now I think that's my next move here.
Well, today's going to be the last show with Russell Clay. He's going to pursue his lifetime dream of being a part-time bus driver that only does field trips. That's his strict resume. He only does field trips. No back to school. Yes. No field trips.
No, I don't know, because I'd be between 9:30 and 10 is when I would start my bus driving day.
Oh, I know. I'm aware. We do pods in the mornings at 9:30 and 10. We're not getting up any earlier.
No, not. Especially in the winter. Got to do the antifreeze and stuff. Start up that bus. No thanks.
Yeah, I mean, really, what is this?
And are you kidding me? You think I'm remembering a bus route? You know how many kids are getting left in the driveway? Just driving by, drinking coffee?
You're dropping them off at Stop and Shop and telling them to walk home there.
Guys, I got to go. I can let you off here. It's only 1.5 miles, right?
But Russell, we're 7. All right, jumping back in, Rangers. I don't mind Profar and Odor at their prices against Ventura. That's about all I'm looking at, just given that their prices are a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
So I think for the most part, I'm kind of just looking to stay away from that game.
Mm-hmm.
Braves and Rockies, and we talked about Tyler Anderson being a GPP option. Here, the prices are definitely more intriguing, where Gordon Beckham and Adonis Garcia, price below 4K, could have a shot at doing something in cores. I don't mind them, but I'm not on really a Frank Core at 4.6 or a Freeman or Markakis.
I don't want to be in on Markakis at 3.3, but that's kind of a weird. That's like a weird price and matchup, and everything's just weird about that. Overall, you're not really touching that other than the top 2 there. But I don't know. It is Coors, you know. It is Coors. So come on, Braves.
It is. Braves. It is. And I'm kind of hoping that they would do something. Yeah. And those are probably the only 2 that I'm looking at. I think Rocky side is more appealing against Whistler, and I think people aren't really going to be driven to the Rockies, because I still think Cargo is going to have some ownership, and same with Arenado at 4.6. But I do think you're going to catch him at lower ownership, just given the pitching and pricing on tonight's slate.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're looking at Blackmon and Arenado there. Arenado, I kind of like his price quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely a little cheaper and not quite in that 5K range.
So, what do you think about Story? Is he still in play for you at 5.5? Are you playing him regardless of his price? That kind of makes me feel uncomfortable, unless you're doing a full stack.
No, I think just given Machado being a shortstop eligible at 3.6 is where I'm going to look. It just makes it, 2,000 cheaper is insane for Machado to Story.
Right. So I think if you want to do a core stack, I think you do Blackmon, Arenado, Gonzalez. and then you start with Machado and go from there.
Yeah, I think Machado is going to be a good pivot point. He's basically, after pitching, Machado is going to be the guy I throw in next. He's going to be the third player I insert into my lineups.
Yep.
Rays and A's here, and the Rays bats are priced down a little bit more. As you mentioned, you like Brad Miller. I like Brad Miller here on DK a little bit more at 3.9. Reasonable price tag for some of these guys. Not really a big fan of picking on Graveman. I mean, Graveman's obviously no quality right-handed arm, but given the price ranges of other options, I like the A's side more so here.
Yeah, I like the A's. Semien, some of the shine's worn off from site to site. Gotta love that price on FanDuel, but not quite as much here. Still in play, but the upside isn't quite as much at his price.
Yeah, I think so too. And Danny Valencia, I don't mind at 4.3 because I can use Machado at shortstop. So I like the Valencia, Davis, Smolinski. I love Smolinski's price tag. Hits lefties well. So I think that's where I'm going to be looking. I don't mind the A's, who are projected for almost 4.5 runs.
Yeah.
So, and you look at Smiley, I mean, a lot of home run potential for some of those right-handed bats, even in that ballpark.
Yeah, definitely intriguing in terms of that.
Yeah. That's going to wrap things up here with the DK Daily Trot. Be sure to check out DailyFantasyCafe.com for all the great tools and content.